Hi everyone, welcome to MSCR Makes. I'm Miss Julia, and today we're going to be making Shrinky Dinks with number 6 plastic. For this project, you will need some number 6 plastic, or you can get some Shrinky Dinks from the local craft store. Most of the time, number 6 plastic you'll find on either carry-out containers or sometimes the containers that fruits or vegetables might come in. This one was from a salad that I got. You'll need either a Sharpie or your colored pencils and some sandpaper. You'll probably want a pair of scissors, and if you have one, you can make your Shrinky Dinks into a keychain or a pendant for like a necklace using a hole punch. You'll also want a baking sheet and either some tin foil or parchment paper. You can pause the video here and go gather your supplies. Now that you've had a chance to gather your supplies, I'm going to move some things out of the way. The first thing I'm going to do, since I am using some recycled number 6 plastic, is I'm going to cut my plastic into more manageable pieces. You might want your grown-up to help you with this. You can use all of the parts of your number 6 plastic, but if you have edge pieces like this, you'll want to kind of cut them so that you'll get flatter areas like this. Now that I've cut my plastic, I'm going to show you 2 different ways that you can decorate your Shrinky Dinks. I'll cut my piece of plastic in half so you can see both of the ways. The first thing you'll want to remember is that Shrinky Dinks will start off kind of big and get really small. So when you're making your design, I would recommend using the palm of your hand as a guide. You don't want to make your piece of plastic any smaller than the palm of your hand. So for me, I might be able to cut this one in half. So you can either use Sharpies or colored pencils. I'll show you how to use the Sharpie first. For the Sharpies, you can leave the plastic as is and just draw your designs. You can either make one big design or a lot of little designs to put onto your plastic, however you want. Once you're done decorating with your Sharpie, you can either use some other pieces or you can get ready to shrink your plastic. I'm going to show you how to do the one with the colored pencils before I show you how to shrink your plastic. So for the colored pencils, you'll need some sandpaper, and you might want to have your adult help you with this. What we're going to do with the sandpaper is rough up or sand and texture the plastic so that the colored pencils have something to grip or hold on to. If you're buying Shrinky Dink plastic from the craft store and want to be able to use colored pencils on it, you'll want to look for the one that's called Rough and Ready. Do you see how it now has scratches in it and it now kind of looks like frosted glass? or it's less see-through and shiny, that's also how you can tell if you have regular Shrinky Dinks or Rough and Ready Shrinky Dinks at the store. The Rough and Ready will have a frosted glass type surface. What this does is allows me to color on there with a colored pencil. Do you see how I was able to use my colored pencil to color on the design? But if I tried to use a colored pencil on the regular plastic, nothing shows up. So once you have your designs ready, you are ready to go and put it in the oven. You'll want to make sure that your oven is preheated to 400 degrees. If you're using Shrinky Dinks from the store, remember to read the instructions and preheat your oven to the temperature the instructions say. This is the part where you're going to want your grown-ups' help. You'll grab a sheet tray, and I like to put down either some tin foil or some parchment paper and then put my Shrinky Dinks on top of either the tin foil or the parchment paper. Now I'll show you the part where I put my Shrinky Dinks in the oven. You can see that I very carefully put them in the oven with my oven mitt on. I would recommend having a grown-up help you with this part. Now, if you watch carefully, you'll see the Shrinky Dinks curling up. Don't be worried if your Shrinky Dinks curl up. You just need to leave them in there for longer. They're shrinking. Once they're laying flat again, you're going to ask your grown-up to help you carefully, and using an oven mitt, take your Shrinky Dinks out of the oven. Then you'll want to set them in a safe place and let them cool off completely. You do not want to touch your Shrinky Dinks before they are cooled off all the way. Here are the ones that I put in the oven earlier. I did one with a Sharpie and one with the colored pencils. When I started them originally, they were about this size, and you can see that they've shrunk down much smaller. This one here, I used my hole punch on. So what I did was, before I shrunk it, I took my hole punch and carefully punched a hole. Do you see how the hole got much smaller when I put it in the oven? Another thing that you might want to do before you put your Shrinky Dinks in the oven is check the corners. If the corners are pointy, like this one, when they turn into a Shrinky Dink, they'll kind of get sharp and pointy. I would recommend rounding off the edges of all of your Shrinky Dinks so that you don't end up with a pointy, pokey, sharp edge. Another thing you can see is the plastic that I started with is much thinner than the finished Shrinky Dink. That's how you know you did it right. Well, I hope you enjoy making your Shrinky Dinks with either Shrinky Dink or with number 6 plastic. And I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!